The first group of illegal migrants to be sent to Rwanda under the government's new scheme will be told that they're on the list to go this week. But they're not going to be on a flight anytime soon, with Home Secretary Priti Patel blaming, I quote, specialist lawyers for the delay. What do we think to this, David? There's a lot of frustration. I mean, there's all mixed views about the Rwanda thing anyway. Let's just park for now that and look at, is it actually going to happen?
It doesn't look like it, because I think this was announced at the start of the local election campaign to give Tory voters a bit of red meat so that they would attract them back to vote for them, given their terrible record and stuff over the last couple of years and so on, that people are very frustrated. But, you know, she's saying today the first people are going to be told in a few days' time. But then when are they actually going to go to Rwanda, and how many are going to go? Because the amount of money that was put into the scheme would only allow for a very small number of people to go to Rwanda.
What was it, 120 mil?
It was 120 mil, but it was estimated about 100,000 per person. So that's only 1,200 people who were going to Rwanda. And we've got perhaps 100,000 people coming over the channel this year on dinghies, added to the 40,000 that have already come over the last 3 years. So there's fewer than 1% of people would be going. And now she's saying even that small number of people who would be going, they might not be able to go because of activist lawyers, specialist lawyers. She's almost setting it up to fail, or sort of putting a shield up in case it fails, so that if it doesn't, she's already sort of said this isn't going to work. So I really wonder if they actually, this is just a PR exercise rather than anything that they expect to work or expect to happen.
See, Daniel, this is your government's policy, this whole Rwanda thing. I personally think that we're at a crisis situation now with what's happening in the Channel. You cannot have tens of thousands of people just randomly getting on a dinghy in France, being picked up halfway along and put into hotels in the UK ad infinitum. It's ridiculous. I would say that emergency legislation, whatever is the right terminology to allow this to happen, should have been put in place a little while ago. So for me now, when I hear Priti Patel sitting there going, I think the lawyers might, put the kibosh on this, I kind of sit there and I think, well, you should have created legislation to make sure that what you're doing allows for it to be done within the frameworks of the law. Am I wrong?
I think David is being utterly cynical and wrong about this. Look, this is an experiment. It's an experiment to see if we can help crack the problem, or if this will contribute to cracking the problem. And it's important to know what success will look like. The policy will have failed if nobody ever goes to Rwanda. But the policy will also have failed if 10, 15, 20,000 people go to Rwanda, because that's neither sustainable nor affordable. So the policy has to work as a deterrent.
Yeah. It's
got to stop people coming because they believe it's really going to happen. And why pay your money and find yourself in Rwanda? Because these people have got money, they're paying money to come across. Why pay your money? And maybe you should rethink about what you're doing. Now, in order to get it to happen in the first place, it is inevitable that the first cases are going to be challenged in the courts, not because of acts of Parliament, but because of human rights law. Now, you might say we should abolish the European Convention on Human Rights. I don't happen to agree with that, or left it, but I don't happen to agree with that. But it's inevitable they're going to be challenged in the courts. And then once you get over those early challenges, you will establish some case law about it, which means the later ones go through more quickly because the opportunity to challenge them in the courts gets narrower and narrower. So it's got to be made real. It's got to be made something which people believe is going to happen to them. And it's got to have the effect, not of sending thousands of people to Rwanda, but of stopping thousands of people from thinking, this is my chance. It may not work, but it's important to know what working and not working actually look like.